I bought a lot of things from Sephora this year and I am here to let you know about all of them. This is gonna be a big juicy video with just reviews of all the things that I have bought, some of the things I've received in PR from Sephora that's been released during this year. I'm gonna let you know which things I love, which things I very much do not recommend, and which things are just meh. And you probably can find something better at the drugstore. I started my beauty channel here on YouTube reviewing indie makeup particularly, especially since I've been living in Sweden. It was really hard for me to get a hold of stuff from other brands when I was living there. Now I'm living in Texas in the US and I'm trying to take advantage and just trying as many different brands as possible. Just, you know, the glass is half full and just taking advantage of the stuff that I can get a hold of here just to broaden my horizon and know more about all the formulas. I also recently did a video where I was talking about if you love this mainstream brand's eyeshadow palettes, you will love this indie brand's eyeshadow palettes. And I really love that video. And for me to be able to do videos like that, basically like bridging between the two communities, I do need to be trying some like mainstream things as well. So we are going to be diving into all the things that I've tried. 2024 Sephora releases. Which ones are worth picking up? And let me tell you, it is not all of them. I think I'm gonna alternate between good ones, mediocre ones, and just go like in between and pop in a couple that I definitely do not recommend. Let's actually start with the Prada Beauty foundation. I got mine. This is a refillable foundation, so you like just refill this part. I have mine in LW25, which is a light warm 25. That's what I think it is. This is a beautiful medium full coverage foundation that for me is a really good match. It is a light medium with a warmer undertone. It just really looks great on me. I love how this foundation wears. I have heard people with dry skin loving this one. I have heard people like me, more oily combo, loving this one. It just depends what you are looking for. For me, this is slightly luminous on the skin, but it doesn't slip and slide all over my skin. For me, this doesn't settle in fine lines, and for me, this doesn't get like greasy throughout the day. I just feel like this looks flawless. It is extremely expensive though, but I gotta say, it does really give a luxury finish on the skin. Speaking of foundations that really did not live up to hype for me was the Kosas BB Burst. This is the tinted gel cream. This does look pretty greasy on my skin. It looks extremely dewy going on, and even if I powder it, it does become kind of a greasy mess on my face. And like I said, I have oily combo skin. I'm 40 years old. I live in a humid climate, and this one just looks dirty on my skin. It looks like I'm in dire need of a shower. And honestly, even though I do not have dry skin, somehow this one is greasy, but also simultaneously like gripping onto dry patches on my skin that I didn't even think I had. I feel like it's almost creating it. I just felt like this looked yucky and crusty on my skin. I did not like it at all. I think if you have very smooth, young, perfect 19-something dry skin, maybe this is perfect for you. For me, I did not like this at all. If I'm looking for something that is a BB cream or a tinted gel or something like that, this is definitely not what I'm gonna be going for by a long shot. Something I really have been enjoying though is the Danessa myricks Yummy Skin Water Powder Serum. This one is a dropper. It is a screw one and you drop it and it like drops out, and it is a serum. So this one is a liquid. You can use this on its own or together with other primers. Since it is very liquidy and since you can get out just a little bit, I use this one as an extra barrier or an extra primer just around my nose and my T-zone where I tend to get oily. So sometimes I will use this as like almost like a little primer cocktail. I think this one is really good. I think this one really holds up what it's supposed to do. I've even used this on days sometimes on half my face and not the other one, just to really see like, is it making a difference? And I think this one is making a difference. And just because it is so easy to get out a little bit, this is definitely perfect if you're like me and you only use a mattifying primer in your T-zone, because you can take out a drop at a time if you only want to use a little bit. So for me, 2 drops and I'm able to use that in my entire T-zone. I don't use it on the side of my face because I don't need to. I think this one is great. Honestly, Danessa myricks as a brand is just a really nice brand. Something that I just haven't really been able to, I just don't understand this one. This is from Refy. This is their mascara. I call this the Angry Vagina mascara because it do be looking like she's about to eat you. This is one of those, it's just a gimmick. It's supposed to be able to you like easily like grip your lashes, and This is an invention that I didn't need. I have two small eyes, by the way, to be able to use this on my lower lashes. This one will poke me and I will get color like everywhere, and also this is kind of hard to get back in. I just feel like this, in theory, it's like, oh, it's one of those curved, it will get all of it. We didn't need this. We really didn't need this. If you want something, if you feel like you're having a hard time like grabbing onto all of your lashes, use a wand that is smaller. The Tower 28 mascara has a smaller wand. I love the wand of the Bad Gal Bang by Benefit. Those are two wands that are really good if you're like me and you have a little bit smaller eyes and you want to make sure that you don't poke yourself with a wand. This one, it was just weird to use. It didn't make my lashes look wonderful. And honestly, it was just complicated for no reason. For no reason was this just complicated. But the foundation that I am wearing today is this one. And I have been loving this foundation. This is the Face Bond foundation by Urban Decay. Really been enjoying this one. This is what I have on my face today. I am having the 17 medium warm on my skin. I think you can see, and it's beautiful. This is like my summer shade, so this is definitely a little bit warmer on my skin. This one holds up beautifully. Like I said, I get oily in my T-zone. This one does not lift, it does not separate, and even though I do get a little bit glowy in my T-zone, I don't look dirty, I don't look greasy, it doesn't lift or separate the foundation, and it holds for 12 hours and honestly just looks great. You can use a little, you can use a little more. I think this is a great foundation. This is definitely the foundation I've been reaching for now that we're getting into like warmer spring, because we are in the 80s now and it's very humid here. So now that I want to have like a more full coverage or a medium full coverage, this has been the foundation I've reached for. I've used this foundation exclusively for 2 weeks, except I did one day use, oh, let me get the foundation that I used where I'm like, it's a little meh. And that was this one. This is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Hydra Glow. I did get this one when we were more into like winter coming into spring, and this one is beautiful on the skin when I'm applying it. Like when I'm filming, it looks fantastic. I wore it yesterday, but this is way too dewy for my skin. It doesn't separate though. It doesn't separate, but it definitely starts to lift a little bit, and after I worn this for like 6-8 hours, I can touch my skin and it comes off on my finger. So I would say that if you have dry skin and you're looking for something that is like a light medium coverage and you want something that's a little dewy and looks beautiful, it just isn't the right foundation for me that has an oily T-zone. It's just not long wearing for me. Beautiful when I'm filming though, and I had to wear it again to just be like, how do I really feel about it, just to like refresh my memory, and it's okay, just not for my skin type. Another thing that I am wearing today is the Real Flawless Concealer by Laura Mercier. This is the one that came with the Real Flawless foundation that came out last year that I absolutely love. This is the concealer that I have on my under eyes today. This is very thin, not to the point where it's like, oh, it doesn't cover anything, but this is definitely not one of those like Shape Tape coverage. This is more like a medium coverage, but it's very thin on my under eyes. It is very forgiving for the texture on my under eyes, and I even wore this one side by side yesterday with this one, the new Say concealer. This one is also, it's like a smidgen more coverage than this one, smidgen more coverage, but this one is not as forgiving. It does look a little cakey and it does crease a little bit on my under eyes over time in a way that this one does not. So if I had to choose between these two, I definitely prefer the one from Laura Mercier. I think that this one wears more beautifully. Like I said, 40 years old, definitely have some wrinkles and fine lines on my under eyes, and my skin is very thin on my under eyes. So if you like the same kind of concealers like me and you're looking into some of these new concealers at Sephora, I definitely prefer this one also over, I have a third one, because I also wanted to review the new Fenty one. This is the dewy one. It's called the Wear Even Hydrating Concealer. This one is more creamy. This is creamy the way that the Natasha Denona concealer is creamy. So if you want something that's thicker, creamier, full coverage, this is that. On me, this creases and looks a little bit too heavy on my under eyes. If I use very little, I can get away with it. But if I had to rank these three new concealers, this is my favorite. Then I would go with this one, and least I would do this one, because this one very easily turns heavy and creasy on me because it's just a little bit too thick for my under eyes. Speaking of products that are a little meh, and I say this with love, but this new powder by Hourglass, it's okay. I've used this for maybe 4 or 5 times, like 4 or 5 days in a row. It has a little bit, okay, this is medium. Let me put it like this. This is medium. This is the powder that I usually use from NYX. Let me show you. And they have approximately the same color. You can see that they're very close in color. This one, such as this one, has a little bit of coverage to it, which makes me question why they're calling this medium. I definitely think if you're gonna call this medium, it needs to be a little darker than this if you're gonna put color to it. I thought it was gonna be more translucent than this, but I actually think that there's more color to it than I expected. So for me, this one works really good on my under eyes, but for covering up, like for using this poof and putting it like in my T-zone, if I wanna like take the oils down a little bit throughout the day, I definitely think that it looks a little heavy because I feel like a little bit too much comes off the poof. It almost makes me look cakey, and I don't know if I love that. With that being said, it is a nice powder, but it's not better than this. I said what I said. Don't come for me. Put down your pitchfork right now. I'm sorry. This is nice, but this is better. This is better. It's literally what, $12? I don't even know. I'm so bad at prices. When I used to live in Sweden, I didn't really care about prices because everything was more expensive in Sweden. There was no affordable makeup in Sweden. I probably paid $15 for this in Sweden. A Milani bronzer is still $22 in Sweden. But I do know that this one is over $50, and this one is nowhere near that. And honestly, when I'm gonna repurchase, it won't be this one. Again, I have nothing against spending more money on a good makeup product. This is the Forever Glow Maximizer by Dior. It is what I have on my skin. If I have any, I don't know if I have any corresponding videos, but I do have a video series here on my channel where I basically do like a full face of trying new makeup, and all of these products that I'm talking about here are gonna be in those videos, except this one because I do have a reel on this one that I did on Instagram. It is so beautiful. So beautiful. I absolutely adore this one. It looks so fresh. It's got the same kind of glow as the ones from Charlotte Tilbury. I talked about comparing this one to Peach Gasm. This one has less base color, so it's a little bit more sheer, which means that this one just layers over beautifully. It does dry down. It doesn't feel powdery, but does dry down. It feels like skin. Doesn't transfer on your hands. Fantastic. Expensive, but I am impressed. This is so beautiful. This highlighter actually was sent to me as PR, and this is the ABH one. This is heavy, like heavy. This is one of those that you can't bring like traveling because it's gonna like put you over the limit for what your bag can be. It's heavy. This is a pretty compact. It is a pretty packaging. It's a pretty highlighter, but I'm not blown away by it. I've definitely tried things that are prettier on my skin than this. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's also not blowing me away. And I feel a little, why would you put up a highlighter from a mid-ranged, almost high-end brand that is just, it's good, but it's not amazing. When you put out one shade, I'm expecting to be blown away. It's nice, but it didn't give me that feeling that I've gotten from some highlighters as of late. It's okay. It's okay. Definitely ABH has released better products than this, even this year. This is the first eyeshadow product that I am trying from Danessa myricks. This is the Groundworks Blooming Romance palette. Such a beautiful palette. I have done a video with this one. I have done a reel with this one. I don't know if that one is live yet, but hopefully I'm trying to like catch up with editing with some reels and stuff. I've been having so much fun playing with makeup on like reels and short form, and then coming back to you and doing videos. Like, I feel like I've found my stride again with YouTube. For a bit I was almost like a little, I don't want to say lost, but I didn't really know like what am I supposed to like do here now that like dedicated reviews, it's not something that people are super interested in. And I feel like it took me a couple of months, but I'm feeling so energized again and so excited about everything. I feel the most at home with my content right now than I have for a little bit, and I feel very grateful for you being so, like, you're always so supportive and like positive in the comments, so thank you so much for that. I've gotten some really nice feedback the last couple of videos, so thank you so much for that. That really helps out a lot. And I will say, when I used this palette, very impressed. I was afraid when I swatched this one that it was going to be sheer on the eyes. It is beautiful on the eyes. You can sheer these putties out. So it's a putty and a corresponding powder. You can use them on your cheeks, you can use them on your lips, you can use them on your eyes. If I use the putties on their own, they're not as creamy as the Natasha Denona, but once on the eyes, I use them with a normal brush, I blend them out with a normal brush, and if I don't set them with powder, they still don't crease on me, just like the Natasha Denona creamed powder on me. They work like once on the eye, they work the same, but when I touch them, they don't feel the same. Very impressed. Very impressed, and I would love to see a palette in the future that's maybe like this, but with some shimmers mixed in and not like monochromatic. I would die to see that. Speaking of Natasha Denona, I personally was not as impressed with the Hyper Natural Face Palette. Not that this is awful quality, because I don't necessarily think that this is awful quality. I just was kind of thinking that I was going to be able to use this palette for me in a way that I feel like I can't. I thought that, because these are all satin or shimmer shadows, and I thought that, oh, I'm going to be able to use these in my crease as eyeshadows, but they are very like sheer face powders, which is nice on the cheeks. They're very sheer, they're buildable on the cheeks, they look nice and sheer on the cheeks. They're a nice formula for the cheeks, but they, for me, the way that I like to do my makeup, I mean, you can see I'm neutral today. I'm neutral today. I'm actually wearing the Bella Beauté bar Secret Garden. I did film this look for Instagram. I wanted to go a little neutral, and I was feeling it today. I was feeling it. That's the only thing I'm wearing that I won't be talking about in this video, but I thought it was a really fun eye look. I actually really enjoy it, and I thought I was going to be able to do these kind of looks with this, but these cannot build up to something like that, and I don't like an all shimmer like palette, so that is on me. And I'm just letting you know, if you're like me and you like being able to do a dramatic look, if you want to, this palette is not that versatile in my humble opinion, because I am not able to build any of these mattes up to be anything dramatic on me. So if you like the same kind of makeup as me, you probably won't like this. With that being said, I've seen a lot of people really loving this palette because they like more one and done eyeshadows, a little blush, a little bronzer out the door. As you can tell, that's not my makeup style. So I think that like when you look at this one, not because I bought this one because I love Natasha Denona, the brand, but when you look at this, try to be a little bit more like, will this realistically fit my makeup style? Because if I've asked myself that question and been like realistic and honest with myself, I would have said no. So before you spend your money on this, please ask yourself that. Are you buying it because you love Natasha Denona, or because you like this effortless, fast shimmer shadow with the finger all over the lid and out the door look? Because that is what this palette does the best. Just so that we are like being honest with ourselves and not wasting our money like I did. I know these have been getting some mixed reviews, but I actually really enjoy mine. That's the blush I'm having today. I'm wearing it under that peachy glow. This is the Milk Makeup Cooling Water Jelly Tint. And I really like mine. I like them both as blush, and I like them especially as lip colors. I will do like a nude lip liner. I will put this all over my lips, and then I'll put a lip oil on top. Stunning, absolutely stunning. But I also really like this as a blush. I've been using it like on the brush like this, but I actually prefer doing a couple of dots, going directly in with the brush and blending it out, and then reapplying if needed. It's not super pigmented, but it definitely does stain your cheeks, but I think it looks great. And if you like do one cheek and blend and do the other cheek and blend, you definitely have enough time to make it like blend out. You just can't do both cheeks, you know, look at your phone and then blend. That's not a possibility. But I've seen some people be a little bit more harsh with these, and say that like, oh, they're just a gimmick. I will say, I think they do what they do, but I also think that there were, and you probably felt like me, sometimes I feel like TikTok makes some products seem like they're here to like give us world peace, but it's just like a somewhat gimmicky product. And this is a gimmicky product, but it also does what it says it's gonna do. So is it as amazing and life-changing as TikTok made it look like? No, but I still think it's a decent product. One person did ask me though, how do I think these are gonna be after like a year? Do I think these are gonna dry out? And I feel like that will be very interesting to see how the consistency is of these once we get into like the yearly declutters at the end of the year. Do we think these are still going to be fresh and cooling gel sticks, or we think these are going to be like a crusty twig? Time will tell. Something that I think is really good quality, even though it's not the perfect color story for me, is the new Cool palette by Makeup by Mario. The official name is Master Mattes The Neutrals. So this is the new cool tone palette that came out. This is also an all matte palette. I feel like matte eyeshadows have been having somewhat of a revival in the mainstream. I feel like Merit came up with those single matte shadows that I personally did not like at all. Danessa myricks, I've had 2 all matte palettes. Makeup by Mario, I've had 2 all matte palettes. I think also Kim Kardashian came out with one. Kylie Cosmetics has one. I feel like there's a lot of, didn't also Patrick Ta have one? I love all matte eyeshadows, I really do. I also hope that we will be able to see more kind of color stories. I mean, imagine Makeup by Mario doing this kind of a concept in more of a murky yellows, cool toned olives, vanilla, like those kind of shades. That would be so cool as well. But I don't know if that always sells. And the success of the Yucca palette, I hope, means that even more mainstream brands have the dare to go into more warm greens. That's what I'm hoping to see. The quality is really good. The color story, I mean, I say as I'm wearing neutrals, but I'm not normally like a person that goes gaga over neutrals, but I still think it is a really good quality palette. I did swatch the warm neutrals in store, and it has the same formula as this one. So I do think that Makeup by Mario has reformulated the palette that they came up with, the warm neutrals, into the same formula as this one, because this formula is great. And I heard the original formula that they had with the warm neutrals was dry and a little so-so. But I swatched it in store last time I was in Sephora, and it's this creamy formula. So I'm just letting you know about that as well. I've really been enjoying the new cream bronzer by Too Faced. I don't even know what this one is called. Oh, the official name. Melting Bronzer and Sculpting Stick. And I have mine in Chocolate Souffle, which is the second shade. And it smells like chocolate oranges in the most realistic way ever. If you're Swedish, it smells like romerska bågar. It smells like romerska bågar so much that I like want it. I want romerska bågar. It smells so good. And I'm wearing this one today. And I've actually noticed that this one, I like this one just like going in and blending out with a brush. I feel like it works really good like that. It is easy to blend out. You can shear it out if you want to. Don't go in too hard though, because it is pretty emollient going in. This one, it is more of a neutral brown. It's definitely not super warm. I know the light one is a little bit more of a sculpting stick. It has a little bit more of a cool tone in it, but I really enjoy this one, and the smell is just delightful. If you hear that sound and you're like, absolutely not, that sounds like a nightmare, I'm just letting you know that you do be smelling it. But I love it, but maybe you don't. Something else that smells really, really delicious, and this is what I have on my lips today. These are the new lip softies by Tower 28. I have 2 different shades here. This one that I'm wearing today is called Blood Orange Vanilla, and it smells like blood orange vanilla. It smells like an orange ice cream. You can see it has color on it, but you can shear it out. And this is red. And it does come in a bunch of different colors. It has a pink one that I don't remember the scent of, but this one is Dulce de Leche. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I've really been trying to practice a little bit. I think I'm doing better than I did in the beginning at least. And this is more of a, like you can see, more like a neutral. It is this color. It is pretty much this color, and it smells very much like Dulce de Leche. It smells like that, very caramelly and yummy, and I think these are really lovely. They do have a sheer one as well, and they have a pink one, and they have a, I think a dark brown one. Oh, wait, I have the other colors here, because I was gonna say, I think I put them in my giveaway pile, and it's literally here. Hold. Okay, since I can say that these 2 are pretty much the color, like in the inside of the tube, as they are on the outside. This is the clear one. It's the SOS one. It's a clear one. Unfortunately, it's not an orange. It is a clear, and this is the SOS Skin Softie, and this is the clear. And then this one is in Ube Vanilla. So this is a more of a plum one, like an ube color one, and it's definitely gonna smell very sweet because ube is very sweet as well. And then this one is, oh, watermelon kiwi, which probably smells delicious. But I don't need another pink one, but watermelon kiwi Sounds lovely. I want that in a hand cream because I would love that. But yeah, it comes in 5 different colors. I like the formula. I like how they look. I like how they wear. I like how they smell. Those really taste like anything. A gloss that I am not the biggest favorite of, and I just feel like maybe, I don't know if I'm the only one, but this is the Huda Beauty Faux Filler Gloss. I usually really love everything that Huda Beauty does. Not everything, but like overall, I really like the thing that the brand does. Smells sweet, but not like candy. It smells a little bit more artificially sweet. And it has a really nice applicator, and I love the packaging, but this one, I feel like the pigment is not stabilized in the formula. It looks very glass-like on the lips. I don't feel like it feels like sticky on the lips, but the pigment separates from the gloss and will get and gather in the lines of your lips. If you have super smooth lips, or if you have like more maybe you have filled your lips so they're a little bit smoother, you probably will not notice that. But if you have ridges and lines in your lips like I do, the pigment does, at least in this one that's a little darker, it does separate and gather in your lines, and I don't love that, especially not for a more expensive gloss when there are so many affordable options. Let's talk about one that I fell head over heel for. It's so good, and that is the new one from Give Beauty. This is so good. Let's talk about the blush as well. These were released at the same time. These are called the Dewy Plump Collagen Cheek Tint. They're called plump, but they're not a plumping. They're not cooling, and they're also not stinging. So they're not plumping like that. They have collagen in them. Will that work? Probably not, but that's their claim to the plumping, is that they have collagen in them. Both of them are in Marigolds, which is this great peachy, like bright peachy shade. The blush is beautiful. It is a sheer, fresh formula that just blends in effortlessly and looks beautiful on your cheeks. I wore this 2 days in a row. It just looks and wears absolutely beautiful. I am so impressed. So impressed that I kind of want to swatch the other colors, and I feel the same about this one. It is a more gel-like, balmy, thicker formula that lays like a cushion on your lips. It smooths out your lips, gives you a glass-like finish. The pigment does not gather in the lines, and it just feels and looks very plush on the lips without being overly sticky. This one smells like a butterscotch. Yeah, like a very nice, luxurious butterscotch. This one doesn't smell like anything, but I need to see what other colors they are, and I kind of want to swatch them in store because I am extremely impressed by these 2 new releases by Give Beauty. I feel like I raised some feelings. I woke some feelings with people when I talked about how much I disliked the new Tarte lip vinyls. These are, according to me, a subpar formula. I feel this is the lip vinyl, and they come in, okay, let me start from the beginning. These come in 3 different formulas in one. These are the clicky sticks that has the purple packaging, and you click it up just as any of these would Tarte. They do not go down again. This is the softest and goopiest, and it is so unstable in this one that as soon as you touch your lip, you will just get a glob on your lips. Even if you like, you know, with some of these, you can just dot it on your lips and it just smooths itself out. Impossible. You have to dot this on your lips, smooth it out with your finger, or rub your lips together excessively to get this to smooth out. And I just feel like there are so many formulas that you do not have to do that with, and they look exactly the same, like that one from Give Beauty. It looks the way that this wants to look. Just get the one from Give Beauty. This one that is sheer. This is the sheer formula. It comes in a shimmer formula too. I haven't tried that one, but this one that is sheer, it is in sheer, oh here it is, Sheer Lotus. This one works better because you can smooth this out with your fingers, you can smush your lips together. It's not as visible because it is a sheer formula. This one is a nightmare. This one is in cacao, and this is the opaque formula. I even wore this once again yesterday, or at least I tried to, just to make sure that I actually hate this the way that I do. If you're gonna try this formula, don't get one of the opaque colors. Again, when you try and dot it on, it becomes globby on the lips. And since this is an opaque formula, you cannot spread it out really with your fingers. It's not gonna get like even enough for something that is opaque. If you rub your lip, I rub my lips together so much that my lips hurt. It did become a little smooth, but still it doesn't look even in the edges because this is an opaque formula. And also when you smooth your lips like that, you lose a little bit of the shine because you have to. I'm just letting you know the way I had to jump through burning hoops to get this mediocre formula to work when there are so many actually good working formulas on the market. These are not doing anything else that other formulas are not doing better. I think this is a subpar formula. I understand that Tarte has this golden goose and they're just hoping for another egg. This is not that. This is not a golden egg. This is just doo-doo. They made the goose make doo-doo. I don't like it. Bye. This is gonna be in my best of 2024. I can tell you already, this is a great lip formula. I feel like this is one of the most underrated releases of 2024. This is the ABH Lip Velvets. I did not buy this one myself. I actually got sent this as PR. It's my first and only PR from ABH, and I will tell you, fantastic. Fantastic formula. It feels like, you know those satin liquid lipsticks? It feels like that, but it's still dead on matte. It is matte, it is opaque, it is not streaky, it does not look weird, it does not wear weird. It is not a transfer proof formula, but it's also still matte. I cannot believe how beautiful this is, how comfortable this is, how opaque this is, and still how matte this is. Very impressed with this one, and I really hope we get more colors because I could see an extension of like 4 or 5 grungy colors for fall. Like I would die if we got that. This is the best lip formula ABH has ever done. The end. And I love the lip liners, and I think this one is even better. These are the blushes by House Labs. These are the re-release of the blushes, but I think it's the same formula, just in smaller packaging. And they now updated the packaging to a more luxurious packaging where the color of the blush is shown on the outside, which does cost more money to do. I think this is a really nice blush, but it is a matte blush. Someone told me that it has a little bit of a sheen to the cheeks. I personally don't see that, or at least it's not enough sheen for me to be like a even remotely satin. I think that this is a matte blush. It is a nice matte blush, but it takes a lot for me to be blown away by a matte blush. I think it's decent. It's definitely decent. I like the packaging. I like the colors. I'm just not blown away, but I also don't know when was the last time I was blown away by a matte blush. If I can't remember it, it was definitely not the last year? I don't think so. I'm hard to impress with a matte blush. A matte eyeshadow formula, oh, that's the way to my heart. When Prada released their foundation, they also released a couple of lipsticks. They did release a lip balm as well, but I didn't try it because it was just a clear lip balm and I'm like, I don't need that from Prada. But I did decide to pick up one from each of the other formulas. This is the opaque matte formula. This is a fully opaque matte lipstick formula. Lipstick formula, and this is in the shade Absolute Secret. Really? It's B01. Okay, B01. That is a very sexy name. Wow. Ooh, who made me do that? Fantastic matte formula, beautiful on the lips. It is not a tuggy matte, looks fantastic, really a big fan. Then they have the sheer matte formula. I do love the idea of an orange, but I don't like this formula as much as I like the other one. It is more like almost like a matte balm. I just don't think I'm into that kind of matte, sheer, blurred lip. It's not my journey. This one is the orange one, and it is in, I think, 0177. I could be making this up. I could definitely be making this up. They do have that slightly like, you know, designer makeup fragrance thing going on, but I much prefer the matte opaque formula over the sheer opaque formula. I'm just letting you know. I also do have one of the quads, and I never buy luxury eyeshadow, but this is Prada, and I love Prada. The Prada triangle is my favorite like logo that is in the like designer community, and this is the one in the dimensions, I think, is in number 3. This is a matte shade, this is a matte shade. This is a satin and this is like more of a metallic, and I think this is more like a creamy, like a cream to powder formula. This quality is beautiful. Much more pigmented and opaque and buildable, and can definitely turn into an in-your-face look if you wanted to. I was incredibly impressed with how easy it was to blend, build, and make intense if you wanted to, because I don't know, you can't really tell today, but at least you can tell that I like dramatic makeup. And the look that I did with this one on YouTube, dramatic, really beautiful, and was very impressed. So if you are into luxury makeup and you want to get a suggestion of like what eyeshadow is good, I can at least vouch for this one. I have swatched so much luxury eyeshadow, and back in the day, I actually used to buy luxury eyeshadow because I somehow thought that that was the only thing that was available. I was living in Sweden. We didn't really have a lot of brands whatsoever. We didn't have Sephora back in the day. We didn't have a lot of drugstore brands, if any, and we definitely, I didn't know that indie brands existed. So I used to buy luxury eyeshadow. This is the best luxury eyeshadow that I have ever tried. I'm sure there are other brands out there doing good as well, but if you're into luxury makeup, I gotta say, Prada is doing something right. This is one product that I really, really wanted to work out for me, but it just is not the right color for me. And I gotta say, I have looked at all the colors in store, and first of all, the pictures online of these LYS cream blushes, I don't know exactly what these are called, but these are the LYS cream blushes in the triangle that are the metallic ones. The shades online, the swatches and the product pictures, they are very loosely correlated to the actual product. I've seen them online, I've seen them in real life, and I don't think they're the same product. They're so different. I will say this color is focused. It is described as like a warm cinnamon or something like that. It just looks like a bruise on my skin. And I've looked at all the colors and I haven't really been able to figure out any of the colors that look good on me. And I did talk to another creator about this as well, and she was saying the same thing, that the quality of the stick is really nice. It's very pigmented. I'm letting you know, don't swipe on your skin directly. You're gonna get a lot of pigment. It's a very nice shimmery formula, but the colors just didn't jive with our skin tone. So maybe that LYS is a black-owned beauty brand. It could be that we are just too pasty to work for these colors, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying that for me, this color is off and I haven't been able to find a color that's right for me. But I will say the opposite then. If you are having a hard time finding blushes on you because maybe they all, like, none of them show up on you and none of them are right for you, maybe check out this range. But I would say swatch them in store, because the way they look online and the way they look in real life, loosely correlated. I was not gonna buy this. This is the PhD lip plumper from Hybrid Lip Glaze Plumper from House Labs. I got mine in Praline, which is like a cool toned brown. Doesn't smell like anything, which is a shame. I love when lip products have that's me. I love when lip products have a scent to them. I tried the PhD lip oil that House Labs had, and I was like, meh. It's a meh product. It's not my favorite type of lip oil. So when I saw that she was releasing what I thought was just a thicker, like, opaque in that, because she still called them the PhD ones, I was like, I don't need that. I didn't like the other formula. But this is different. This is a thicker gloss that looks very glass-like on the skin. It feels like a balm on the lips. It's very comfortable. It has the right amount of cushiness to the lips. It makes them look glass-like and plump and balmy, and it feels great. It wears for a pretty decent time because it is a little bit thicker, but it's not sticky. It's supposed to plump your lips over time. I'm not gonna go into whether or not I think that works, but it's not a stinging plumper. It's not one of those that's cooling. It's not one of those that's stinging on your lips. It just makes your lips look juicier, honestly, and I like it. I think it's really beautiful. I think it's a great product, honestly, and I like the colors a lot because they are brown colors, a lot of them. And I feel like a lot of times when I see lip products, they're just all pinks. And I know that people love pinks, and that's so great. I just am so happy to see some alternatives, because we have been going through a pink season. And when I say season, I mean a full year, and I'm just happy to see something else. Makeup by Mario released a satin lipstick. I have it in, I think, Uptown Girl. Yeah, it is like a, almost like this color here. It's like a reddish clayey coral color. This is very opaque. This is definitely a satin finish to the lips. Smells a little sweet. The packaging is really nice. What I will say, the reason why I would say that this is like meh is that there's nothing exciting really, according to me, with this formula. It is a middle of the lane. It's a nice formula. It's opaque, it goes on, but it doesn't feel anything special. And I also don't feel like the shade range of the lip colors is anything special. I feel like they're all pretty typical colors. And again, there's not a lot of those like more nudie brownie shades. It just felt a little safe. It felt a little, almost like it felt old immediately. It was just, I don't know. There was something about this that was like, okay, well, yeah, that's nice. Is it going to be my favorite formula? No. Is any of the colors that I've seen in store. I bought this one online and then I watched them in store. I didn't buy a second color because I'm like, none of these are intriguing enough. They felt a little safe, which made them a little uninteresting. Another lip formula though that I think is beautiful is the new matte lipsticks by Merit. I have it in two different shades. I have it in Vermilion, which is a muted orangey red. It is such a beautiful shade. And then this one I got in PR, and this one in Antibes I bought myself. It is a slightly browny peach, super beautiful on the lips. I think that it's more of a comfort matte. It goes on very thin. It just glides on the lips. It doesn't look dead matte. It's not as matte as the ABH one. I still like the ABH ones more. These have some interesting colors. I still wish that they would have a couple of more interesting colors. But I mean, I found two in this range that I really enjoy. And I think that there's something very sophisticated about this formula. It is thin, it is light, it is extremely comfortable, but still opaque. And it is matte, but not dead matte. And it's just very comfortable. I'm very impressed with this formula, and it's been getting good reviews. And I think for once, I'm gonna be mean, but for once I do think that a Merit product actually deserves some hype. This is a good formulation. I have two more lip colors here that I have recently gotten from this Sephora, and one of them is from the Sephora brand, and this is the Sheer Shine lipsticks. I got it in 10, which is a orange. These are almost exactly in formulation to, and you can even see how it looks, to those shiny slim lipsticks that Fenty had. And this is very, very similar to the, is it Mango Tango? Something Tango. The color that she had, I think I decluttered it. It's almost the same. This smells like lipstick, but how the component is very similar. The way the lipstick looks, the way it feels, the way that it goes on the lips. It is extremely similar to that formula. And I will say, Sephora is owned by the same umbrella as Fenty, so I'm not super surprised to see something with such a extremely close formulation to that. I'm not saying they're the same, but that was what I thought immediately when I tried it. And the other lip formula is the new one from Saint Laurent, and this one is the Love Shine. And these are not like the the candy glaze are the ones, the click sticks. You twist it and it clicks up and you can never twist it down again. This is a stick that you can twist up and down. This is more like a buttery balm. It goes on very shiny on the lips, but it's a little bit more sheer buildable. This is more like a very glowy lip balm. The formula it's not goopy like those sticks are. You won't accidentally put on too much. It has that tropical YSL smell to it. I think I prefer this one to the candy glaze. And if you're like me and you think the Tarte click sticks and the Colourpop click sticks, the e.l.f. click sticks and the candy glazes, if you think that all of those are just a little too goopy, try something like this instead. This in formulation is so much more similar to how the NYX Click Sticks feel. A little bit more firmer, but still buttery and still very shiny, but not goopy. I prefer this one to the Candy Glaze, but I've heard others that prefer the Candy Glaze. It just depends on how thick of a layer you want on your lips. I think this one is way easier to work with. This is the Supergoop Protect Tint Daily SPF Tint. This one, someone was very upset with me that I was applying this one with a sponge, but this is way too pigmented for me to be applying with my hands. This is not sheer coverage, this is definitely light coverage. So this will give you more coverage than you think. So for me, I like applying this one with a brush or a sponge. It gives you a light coverage. It has 50 SPF, but I will say you probably will not use enough tint to get the 50 SPF because you do need to use a lot to get that SPF, but it's a nice added thing if you're going to be wearing this one out and about. This one looks really good on me, and if I powder it, I can make it last pretty decently, but it does get glowy on me. And if I don't powder it, if I don't blot and like babysit it a little around the 6-hour mark, it will become very greasy on me. So it definitely has that sunscreen feel to it when it becomes a little greasy over time. I still think this is a good one, and it looks really fresh, and it is a nice like light coverage, everyday effortless kind of a thing. It evens out what it needs to even out. It doesn't break me out. It doesn't move around and look weird, but I definitely get glowy with this one if I don't blot a little bit throughout the day. This one is a new one because I had to go and exchange mine, and this is the Fenty Beauty light diffusing highlighter. I have mine in Prosecco. I had one in Yum Rum as well, and I had to exchange that one. I actually had to buy that one online. So this one I haven't used, the Prosecco one, and I don't know, and you will see in the B-roll, I'm showing you the ones that I got that was broken. So I did exchange mine for this one, the Prosecco one, but it didn't have the Yum Rum in store, so I ordered that online, and we'll see if that one also arrives broken. This is a very fragile formula. I thought that this was going to be a lit from within effortless glow. This is very glowy. This is very highlighty. The difference between this is definitely not a putty formula. Someone asked me if this one is similar to the Natasha Denona formula. The Natasha Denona formula is somewhat of a putty formula, but it's leaning more on the powder formula than a Colourpop Super Shock highlighter. The Super Shock highlighters are way more creamy than the Natasha Denona one. This is a baked powder, and it's a very finely milled baked powder, but it is very glowy. It is definitely not a subtle glow. It is not a lit from within. The difference between this one and the other highlighters that Fenty has is that this one has different like almost skin toned bases, so you need to find the one that's closest to your skin tone, and it's just gonna look wet on your skin, which it does. It is a very beautiful highlighter, but don't get it twisted. Don't think that this is gonna be like a demure, easy lit from within. It's not. It is a very 2016 high intensity glow. It is seen from outer space. It can be seen from outer space. It is just a little bit more of a updated, modern, sophisticated formula. I think these are really good. Just know it is not like a light diffuse glow. It is very high intensity. And I like both of my colors. The Prosecco one is slightly too light for me. The Yum Rum one is slightly too dark for me. I'm gonna try and mix them together. Hopefully my Yum Rum survives. We'll see about that. But I really like these for what they are. The last thing I'm gonna talk about is something that I'm gonna put them in the meh category, not because I think I don't like them, only because I'm not sure that this is what people really wanted. I don't know if it works, and that is the Rare Beauty, the powder blushes. This one is in Hope. This is the one that I have been using. That is not true. I've been using Joy. That's the one I've been using. Here it is, the one that's peachy. This is the one that I've been using. These are somewhat of the same formula as the highlighters, which means that they are a baked powder formula that when you touch your brush in this, it picks up a lot. You get a lot on your brush. It's very easy to get a metallic cheek, which is maybe easier to work with when it comes to a highlighter, because you're kind of expecting that. When it comes to a blush, I will tell you right now, if you work this up to be more of an intense blush, it will be like a metallic eyeshadow on your cheeks, which is not for everyone. I would use this more as a highlighter blush hybrid, which means just sweep on a little bit on your cheek with maybe a little bit more of a flimsy brush. I can even put some on. I have a brush in my brush collection. This is from Cinch Beauty. It's a little bit more of a flimsy brush. I got these sent to me as PR, and you see how much it picks up just from me dipping it in. And just brush a little bit on, because if you, I think you can see, it does have some color, but if you go in too much with these, it's so easy to overdo it and you have a metallic eyeshadow streak on your cheeks. So I don't think that it's necessarily a bad idea to release these products, but this is a colored highlighter. It's very metallic. It is as metallic as the highlighters. It just happens to have a base color to them. So I would treat these the same way as the Bare Minerals highlighting blushes, that they are necessarily not a blush first and foremost. They're a highlighter first and foremost, but they have a little bit of a base color underneath, so they can be used as a blush, but maybe best as a blush topper. I will say, since these pick up so easily on the brush, that's the part where I'm like, I'm not sure if this kind of a product is best made in this kind of a formula where so much so easily comes on the brush and it's so easy to overdo it. I'm not sure if the Rare Beauty customer were looking for pink, robotic, metallic cheeks. I think that a lot of people were looking for something that's maybe not as intense, and that's why I'm saying I was surprised that this was released. I like clearly a super glowy cheek. I am gonna get use out of these, but I'm telling you right now, switch to something that is a little bit, I like this one, that's why I made a brush like this. It's a little bit more flowy and flirty, and just, it's perfect with those high intensity things because you can just flick on a little bit and it's like, it's enough. But if you go in with something, maybe you're used to doing your blush with something like this, it's a little thicker, it's a little denser, it will get very metallic, full on, quickly. So I think that these products, I think some people will love them, some people will not love them. They're not the kind of product, it's the kind of product that will ruin your no makeup day quickly if you put on too much, and you will look overdone. For me, who don't really do the no makeup that loves a lot of makeup, they make sense for me. But that's why I'm like, I'm surprised that this is coming out from Rare Beauty, because I feel like it's a nice product, but I don't know if they fit in with the Rare Beauty customer, especially not with the brush, because in the PR package, they sent out, oh, here's the brush, super big, very dense brush. When I used this one with the blush, I got a metallic patch immediately. If you don't like metallic cheeks, this is not the right brush for this release at all. So that was a little bit surprising to me. These are just my 2 cents, and this is coming from someone who loves glowy, gleaming cheeks. I will never do an all matte cheek. It's just not for me. So I hope this video was helpful. Of course, I haven't tried everything that's been released at Sephora this season, but I will say since the beginning of the year I've been really on it, and I've been trying to try as much as possible so that I can give you actually some well-rounded, really good suggestions and reviews, so that you don't have to waste your money the way that I do sometimes, so that you can make well-informed decisions of what to add or what not to add to your makeup collection. Let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I will see you soon again in a new video. Bye!